that note, I would like to invite the Minister for Education, Jason Clare, to the stage to say a few words.
G'day everyone. Well, maybe the best way to ruin what has been a brilliant session is to have a politician speak. So can I assure you that I'm not here to make a big speech. I'm here like you to listen and to learn, and I feel like I received a lot of wisdom today. And so again, can I ask everyone to put their hands together for the teachers and the educators and the leaders that were on stage today. Can I also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're blessed to be on today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I don't have to tell you about the importance of education. The fact that you're here and that you're with us today means that you get it and that you understand it in your bones. I did have to tell my little boy about the importance of education when I got this job 2 years ago though. He just started kindergarten, worked out that I was the Minister for Education, and he said, "Dad, are you in charge of all the schools in the country?" I said, "Well, kind of." He said, "Could you ring my teacher?" You know what's coming next. "And can you tell her I'm not coming back?" I didn't make that phone call. I said to him, "Jack, what do you want to be when you grow up?" He said, "Spider-Man." I didn't expect that, but I had to think quick, and I said, school gives you superpowers. School gives you the power to be whatever you want to be when you grow up. That education is the most powerful cause for good in this world. That it's the great equaliser in an unequal world. And that wherever you go, it has to be a bit different. It has to meet you where you are. And I think you see that better here in East Arnhem Land than almost anywhere else in the country, about being able to teach in 2 languages, in 2 ways, providing students with a 2 toolbox education. And if you get that right, then really education can be a superpower. I've just come from Darwin, where I signed an agreement with the Northern Territory government to at last fully and fairly fund all public schools across the Northern Territory. Just to give you an idea about what that means, that's David Gonski. That's the funding that David said is needed for every school, base funding and then extra funding to support students where they are and where they need it. And it's about $1 billion over the next 5 years. Without it, Northern Territory public schools are on track to get to that full level that David said they should be at by 2050. This brings that funding more than 20 years forward, and it means that the most underfunded public schools in the country will now be the best funded public schools in the country. It'll have an impact on kids that aren't at school yet, that aren't born yet, because I know, like everybody knows here, that we can't wait for another 20 or 30 years. And it's those investments that will change not just their lives, but their kids' lives and the communities that they live in, because that's the power of education. It doesn't just change one life. The Northern Territory government also signed off an agreement this week for a significant pay rise for teachers in the Northern Territory as well. Massive increase. It means that Northern Territory public school teachers are now going to be the best paid public school teachers in the country. And that'll make the world of difference. But one thing I learned listening to Denise, your presentation, you told us that 40% of kids in classrooms today in the Northern Territory are Indigenous, but less than 20% of those teachers at the front of the classroom are Indigenous. You know, you are what you can see. You need your community at the front of the classroom. We need more Indigenous teachers. And part of the agreement that the Northern Territory struck with the Teachers Union this week was about creating a new category of Indigenous teachers in our schools. But part of my job as the Australian Minister for Education is helping to break down more of those barriers so Indigenous Australians, wherever they live, wherever they grow up, can become a school teacher as well, can teach in community, don't have to go as far away from home to get the qualifications that they need, and can be at the front of that classroom, because an Indigenous person at the front of the classroom can be all the difference between whether an Indigenous child in the classroom decides that they want to be a teacher too one day. And so that is as important as money. It's making sure that there are people in our community get the chance to be at the front of that classroom, and if we get that right, then we really can make education in this community and right across the country everything that it can be. All right, I'm going to do now what most politicians don't do, and shut up. And thank you for being part of today's discussion.